This is the aftermath of a robbery that took place in Waterlooville in Hampshire in November last year. The footage, filmed on body-worn video, a small device clipped to the front of an officer's stab-proof vest, captures police's initial attendance to the chaotic scene. In surveys carried out by Hampshire Police, over 90% of the public backed the use of these body-worn videos. However, some civil liberty groups have raised concerns over officers' powers to switch the cameras on and off.
I think this footage cannot be used as evidence as a whole, especially when it is the police that decide when and where they tape the footage. And this is one of the problems with CCTV recording as a whole. You only get part of the picture from that. So I think that there clearly needs to be guidelines about when it is appropriate for it to be used. And one of the things that make me feel very uncomfortable is that if this is about accountability, then the police shouldn't be the ones that have immediate access to the footage, shouldn't be the ones that hold the footage and process the footage if a complaint is being made. And so I think there needs to be an independent entity here who has control over this footage and who can make kind of the necessary proportionate measures to ensure that both sides, both the public and the police, are protected from any wrongdoing.
I regard the present scheme as profoundly unsatisfactory. The police should be recording every single interaction with the public. And it should be made a very serious disciplinary and perhaps even a very serious criminal offence for an officer to pervert the technology so that at any particular time the camera is switched off or the footage is missing. I disapprove of mass public surveillance cameras. However, there is a great deal of anecdotal evidence, indeed there's a great deal of evidence that you will find in the court records of gross and systematic police misconduct in their various dealings with the public. And I think it would be very useful to improve relations between the public and the police if in all interactions the police were wearing video cameras, and so in the event of any misconduct by a particular officer, we were able to know exactly what had happened, and this can be used in disciplinary proceedings. It is rather sad that we need to record the police as they go about their daily business. It is, however, quite evident that in many cases, as they go about their daily business, the police behave high-handedly, sometimes brutally, and in many cases illegally. The Police and Criminal Evidence Act 30-odd years ago brought in the system of audio recordings of police questioning under caution, and that appears to have cut down on the amount of police brutality in the station. A lot of brutality was thereby shifted from the station to informal interactions in police cars. I think that the more under surveillance police officers are, the better, on the whole, they are likely to behave. I think that the beneficial effect of universal camera surveillance will be for the public. And any policeman who objects should only have his own words quoted back at him. If you have nothing to hide, you have nothing to fear. Those police officers who behave courteously and indeed legally at all times have nothing to fear from being on the record in every single interaction with the public. It is only those policemen who behave illegally and discourteously who have anything to fear from this technology. If it is good enough for the authorities to watch us as we go about our daily business, surely it is our right to watch them.
National lead in developing policy for the use of this technology is Hampshire's Chief Constable, who is in the process of setting up several principles as a guide for police using the cameras.
One of the principles is that the body-worn video, although an independent witness, will never fully replace conventional evidence. So policing will always be about a police officer dealing with the public. Now, it so happens that the body-worn video provides an independent witness to that police officer. So it will go a long way to support the officer, but never fully replace the officer. If we wanted police officers to have a body-worn video switched on 24/7, that actually the device would be very big in terms of memory. The battery would have to be huge. But probably most importantly of all for the public is they want us, I'm sure, and our consultation with the public tells us this, to use it in a proportionate way that's necessary to the job that we're doing. So the guidance that I'm developing will say that the officer should switch it on whenever they're gathering evidence or whenever they're dealing with an incident which they would make a record about. There's lots of examples I will offer in my guidance for that, but that means incident specific. Now actually if they record something inappropriately or by accident, then there will be a process by which it's deleted as soon as is practically possible. So for example, they capture some images which are in a private environment like a home that they shouldn't have caught. Now when they switch it on, the advice will say that they should say that this incident is being recorded by body-worn video and it's also got audio recording. So the officer should, if possible, give notice that the incident's being recorded. So absolute transparency is the watchword of the way we'll use it. And actually what members of the public who are being recorded are also entitled to is a copy of the body-worn video recording if they make an application in writing. So completely transparent and accessible. I understand that people would be worried about any Big Brother aspects of society, and that's why we've taken such measures in creating the guidance to actually put in a requirement for an officer to say that it's being recorded. The body-worn video itself is very visible, and when it's switched on in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, there's a flashing light and people will see their own image for 30 seconds. So apart from being given a notice, it's absolutely obvious. Then there are all the rules on transparency and accessibility. But what I would want to reassure the public is that the survey work we've done has indicated that over 90% of people support it. And in terms of the early use of body-worn video in Hampshire and the Isle of Wight, we're seeing lots of cases where we're getting quicker justice, earlier guilty pleas, earlier admissions, better justice, so more appropriate sentencing by the court, dealing with better evidence because the body-worn video has captured it, and indeed greater degree of trust, confidence and transparency, because if there ever are any complaints or questions about how an officer has dealt with a situation, you have got that independent record there that states exactly what's happened. So I've got practical examples in all of those areas which I think will reassure the public where they doubt how we'll use it. We're currently using 450 of our body-worn videos. So every single officer and police community support officer on the Isle of Wight has got a personally issued camera, and actually we've won a funding bid which is called the Innovation Fund from the Home Office to achieve round one of personally equipping every single officer and PCSO in the whole force personally with body-worn video. Now we've got to do it properly. It's not just a question of saying there's a camera, off you go. There needs to be the back office support for it to make sure that the images are captured with integrity and available for court or evidence if they're needed. So we don't want to rush it and get it wrong, but I'm hoping that we will do it this year. If we don't achieve it fully within 2014, then actually the absolute cut-off time is looking like April 2015 to get them all out.